Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and today we're doing part 4 of the subway station, which hopefully will see it completed. So let's look at what remains to be done. Basically, it's the entire back wall, so we aren't looking at the cavity with the non-Lego supports in it, and this will link the far side of the arch on the left-hand side that the train goes through, all the way to the far side of the arch that the train goes through on the right, which is a distance of 50 studs. And I think I want to add a live rail, i.e. the sort of third electrified line that powers the train, if I can, on that side. And also I'm going to continue the tile theme. So here on the left, I've got the 1x1 tiles in medium and dark azure. And on the right, I've got the 1x2 tiles in yellow and, well, dark yellow, but it's called flamish orange, something like that. And I want to continue that round the corner. So we'll have blue on the back wall from this side and yellow on the back wall from this side. And I'm thinking I might have to do a third colour in the middle, partially because I don't think I've got enough to do the whole distance. And then the very last thing I need to do is to incorporate this wall with the River Trent, which is temporarily taken out, because that was being supported on its own, but now it's going to share this wall, and therefore it needs to look good from both the perspective of the subway station, looking that way, and obviously from the river, looking that way. So it'll need some slight modifications, I think, but largely it'll be unchanged. Right, so first of all, I'm going to get 3 fresh pieces of straight track, so I can build over there on one of the new tables I've laid, because it will be virtually impossible to build in situation, and then I can transfer those whole 3 pieces of track and replace the 3 that are currently sort of in the station. I think that'll be a lot easier than working in situ. Right, let's get started. Okay, so this is what I've knocked up. It's partially done, just so you can see how I've made it. I've got 3 pieces of track, as I said, just straight representing the ones in the station. And if I turn it around, I've just used some spare yellow bricks, because you won't be able to see it from this perspective, just to raise it up a little bit. And I'll just finish that up. That's based on some plates, 2x2 and 2x3 plates, just to sort of even out the edge of this rail edge, just to make it straight. So I can just use some more spare bricks, in this case a couple of 2x3s, just to raise up the side, and the side facing will be black, so it will just look very plain. Then I've got, just to hold it all together again, another set of dark bluish grey plates. And yeah, I wanted a grey one on the end. There we go. Right, so then we've got a nice flat platform that's slightly raised. Then, to give the edge some pattern, I've been using 1x3 dark bluish grey tiles, and then a 1x1 tile with clip, which I can continue in the remaining space. And I'm using these so I can hold another tile on its side, which I don't know if it's an official Lego technique or not, but I mean, long has it been possible to use hold. It's much like how a minifigure holds, say, a map or a tile piece or something like that. You basically just put the edge of the tile into the clip, and it looks like that. And I've used light bluish grey here because it will just show up a bit against the background, because otherwise it's all just dark grey on dark grey on dark grey, and it's not going to show up at all. Now, I did have some tiles in this, which might be hard to pick up on camera, but it is actually metallic silver, which are from an agent's set, but unfortunately I don't have enough. It's very similar, to be honest, to the light bluish grey, but it is just a little bit shinier, so it will catch the light better. But anyway, as I say, I haven't got enough of those to do the whole strip, which is 50 long. So unfortunately, we'll have to go with light bluish grey. But I still think that looks pretty good. So that represents the third rail, which is the electrified rail, which if you did unfortunately fall on a track, you'd be fine as long as you climbed out before a train got there, as long as you didn't go over and play with that. So the next layer, just to set the wall back a bit from the train, it's just a row of these 1x4 slopes, 2x4 slopes rather. And one short for the end. So that gives us a nice basis for our wall. And then now I need an awful lot of modified bricks. These are the ones with the 1x4s with the 4 studs on the side. So I can start building up a wall that can be tiled from top to bottom. And in between, I'm going to put some billboards for adverts. So the whole construction is 50 long, so I figure if I have one for the arch on each end, then that will leave me with 48, which if I have it split into 3 equal sections, will be 16 per section. So this is the 16 long azure section, continuing the medium and dark azure 1x1 tiles. So I really like that. This little area is deliberately blank, as we'll see shortly. That takes a surprising amount of time to make sure all these 1x1 tiles are actually aligned, because obviously they can be at slightly skew with angles and look a bit rubbish. So that's that. And as I said, I'll put some adverts in there shortly. So then I'll get on with the next section in a similar way. And the next section I've done in red. And this time, instead of using 1x1s or 1x2 tiles, I've predominantly used 1x4 tiles. So I think we're actually changing the colour combinations and the shapes. It just adds even more texture and interest. So as you can see, this is red and dark red occasionally, sort of continuing that sort of mottled theme. So I really like that. 2 more adverts as well in the middle, and another deliberate omission. Okay, so now obviously what we need on the third bit is some yellow. And there's the third section. A lot quicker when you know what you're doing. So that is obviously yellow and the flamish orange. So it matches the bits that are already in the station. So that looks really good. So we've got 2 deliberately leftover spaces. And usually if you've ever been to one of these stations, you'll know on the opposite wall is what you look over your shoulder and check where you are on your journey, because that's where they have the name of the stop. And what I'm going to use for that is some 1x4 tiles. So this stop will have to be called Lego City, because it's in the city centre, and it's sort of done in that sort of way that it could be like an electronic screen. So these I moved onto 1x4 tiles using my patented hot tea technique. Originally they were from set 7938, the passenger train from 2010, which is a pretty ugly train if you ask me, but nonetheless, that sticker was on the windscreen of that set. And I thought if I had 2 of those, very cheap pieces on Bricklink, because nobody really wants to reconstruct that train, I don't think. But I can put those 2 stickers like that. Hey, that's looking pretty good, isn't it? So this is the Lego City stop. So when I do my second tube station, I'll probably pick 3 different colours of tiles, I guess, or maybe I'll pick these 3 again, I don't know. But I will have to find some other sticker that will give it a different name. So I have to be on the lookout for something there. Right, so this is looking great. Now what I need is the adverts, and what I really wanted was official Lego pieces. I know a lot of people like to do their own printing or whatever like that, make their own stickers so they can have some really interesting, and they are quite cool admittedly, sort of Lego Batman posters and things like that. But I'm going original. So I've used the 6 different film adverts from the 2 cinema sets that Lego's done. So they're the Palace Cinema set, which is the modular from 2013, and the Town Plan Cinema, which I've got, in my city from 2008. That's set 10184. So these are the three. No, hold on. Which are the three? These are the three that most people be familiar with from the Palace Cinema set. Forever Sorting, Mystery on the Monorail, which I really like because I've got a monorail, and the Brick Separator, which is a good fun one. And then from the Town Plan set, we've got the, what's that say? The Bricks Are Coming, sort of an alien spaceship there. The 50-Year Brick. And then it rebuilds the Spider, which obviously is some sort of horror film. Now, these three, two are well placed, and this one is rather badly placed. As you can see, it's sort of hanging off this glass piece. Now, I did try and move this. I was successful with the other two using my patented hot tea technique. But unfortunately, this sticker is so badly sun damaged that when I peel it off, even using that technique, it starts leaving bits of the sticker behind. So I've stuck it back the corner that I started on where it was originally. So I guess the fact that this is at a slight skew width angle doesn't really matter, because sometimes when they put these posters up, they do them slightly wrong. And also, if I put it in the corner one, it might be that we don't even notice. So it's better than nothing. So I'm going to add these in. It's good to have 6 different ones as well, isn't it? So right. So there we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can barely tell it's badly positioned, I don't think. Right, so this will fit with the arch piece that's already there on each end. So that's fine. So all I need to do is the next layer here. At the moment it's very unstable because these are just stacks of 1x4s on top of each other. So I need something that will tie it all together. But I also want something that's going to act sort of, well, not like a roof, but almost something that's going to just sort of take it round the corner, because at the moment it's very vertical. So I want something almost to come up at the sort of a diagonal angle to almost sort of give us the indication that we are in a tunnel to sort of close it in. So what I thought I'd use is an absolute load of these, which are sort of ladder pieces. And I've been getting these on hauls. As you can see, I've amassed quite a few. What I thought I'd do is sort of have these coming off here at a sort of diagonal angle. And when there's a row of them, it would almost look like a sort of metal sort of lattice roof. So I'm going to try and do that. Okay, so what I've done here is I've added alternating modified plates, being with the bar on, with the connector on the outsides, and then in the middle, outsides, outside, middle, outside, outside, middle. Then some tiles on the top of that. And that just allows me to connect a big long row of these ladder pieces, which when they're in position, I'll be able to sort of make look nice and neat. Admittedly, at the moment, they're not cooperating particularly well. And then that will be a sort of slatted roof. Because I don't want to build it out of solid brick. It'll look a bit weird. So, yeah, so I think that's my back wall. Right, I really like that. It's very colourful, and I like the adverts and the Lego City stop sign. So now I just need to incorporate this left-hand side one with the rest of the wall, so it'll go like that. And then above it will be the River Trent. Now, the reason why I'm having to modify this, so this is a bit with the crocodile in and all that, is because it's going to basically sit here and be part of this wall. So this wall that we can see here is going to be on one side the edge of the river, and on the other side basically the top of this wall. And as a result, I want it to look good from both sides. So these small holes, which are part of a sort of a slope piece, don't look that great. These odd bits that are in light bluish grey don't look that great. And this palisade bit doesn't look great. And the back of this panel doesn't look great either. So it's basically trying to piece these three bits together so it looks good from both directions. And then lastly, this has been built onto a blue base plate, and I don't want that showing or being part of the wall itself. So I'm going to recess that so we can have this as just being a normal wall. So the first thing I need to do is move all the bits of this river one stud that way to our right, just so it's all relatively unchanged, but these bricks are hanging off the edge of this base plate rather than being on the last stud of it. And then that means they can be part of the wall, and then the base plate will be supported underneath by these inverted slope pieces, and the wall will sort of be straddling both this base plate and this plate layer, and therefore hold it all together. So I'm going to do that next. Here's the amended river. So as I said, I've just moved it all one stud that way to the right, so we can see that it looks pretty much unchanged on that side. That side, it is changed, but you know, with the same effect, just different bricks, different order. But the other side now is a completely flat wall. It's also got the bit of decoration I want to have over the arch, and it's also got a security camera, much like the other side has. I'll have to angle that. And then this bit will fit like that, and it'll all be seamless from both sides, hopefully, touch wood. So now I've got the unenviable job of putting this all in position, and some of it's sort of firmly attached in place and some of it's not, and it's got a tolerance of absolutely nothing, so I'm probably going to have to take away some of the base plates that are on top of the station and the footbridge and things like that, just so I can squeeze all these pieces in, and then I can show you them in position. Wish me luck. Well, that wasn't difficult. So we've got the river back in place here. As you can see, we've got the grey uninterrupted wall showing on this side. I've just done a bit of slopes there just to make one blend somewhat into the other, because this is still a cutaway. I mean, it's representing far deeper underground in real life, but it's also integrated with the plate layer that's across the whole length of the station to hold the base plates that'll be sat here up. And I've put the second camera in a slightly modified position from where I just showed you, just so it mirrors the one on the other end. So I think that is pretty strong and pretty, yeah, good looking. And this is back to how it used to look, give or take. So I'm pretty happy with that. So now I've just got to continue transferring the back wall that I made very neatly. And now I've got to break it all up and stick it all in there. I thought I could put the whole thing in with some, while it was still attached to the railway pieces. But yeah, no, because the track's all slightly differently aligned. So I'm going to have to pull it all off those tracks and then put it all in bit by bit. But not to worry, we'll get there. Oh, this is so tricky. You've got to do every little bit in the right order, because this arch has got absolutely no tolerance underneath the river, which has got zero tolerance underneath these base plates that are on the table. On the other side, you've got the same issue with this arch, and then the track's all fixed in position as well. So you've kind of got to get all the load-bearing bits really rammed in absolutely perfectly in order for it to work at all. So I've had to pretty much destroy my entire wall build it again from the ground up, having done both of the bookends. So it's taking a lot longer than I hoped. I'm also having to redo all the live rail stuff with fingertips reaching down there, which is easier said than done. But it does look good, so I'll keep going. And I just wanted to check that the train would fit with the live rail there. And it does, so that's good. Well, it's all in, but I did have to do it twice because the first time, basically the wall collapsed a little bit, and when I pushed down on this, it all crumpled. So I've redesigned it slightly so it's a little bit stronger. And now, if I shake it, yeah, that's very robust now. So that is good. So I can put these base plates back on top. Just briefly. Great, and that's how it's going to look. So I need to put the footbridge back, and I need to add a few people and details to the subway. I've also been considering adding a light bar, sort of from IKEA, sort of cheap thing, to the underside of these base plates, just so it's more well lit. I can't decide whether I need it. I mean, I don't know how it looks on camera, but in person it looks light enough, quite frankly, so I might not bother. But obviously it could be more brilliantly lit. I think having it really bright might just make it look really weird, and I'd have to turn on the switch each time to make it bright. So I think if all things are equal, I'll not bother. Let me know what you think. Now I've put the footbridge back in position, and you can see that the river is a little bit longer now, in that it used to finish here, but now I've got the ability, just because I've got this supporting wall coming out a little bit further, in order to support another bit. And so this is normal plates, 8x8, and it kind of adds a little bit, I think, because it links the water in the marina very physically to the water in the river. So that's where the two meet. And as I said before, this is a cutaway, so the fact that this suddenly goes from blue to grey, you have to sort of imagine a dotted line with a greater distance between the two, because this boat isn't going to drive into the subway and then suddenly fall into it, even though it might look that way if you look at it very literally. So, good. Let's add some final details to the station platform. Right, just to recap what we did then. So you've added in the azure tile section on the back wall with the station sign, the red tile section with another station sign, and the yellow tile section. So we've got the blue tiles blending in from one side and the yellow from the other. So I think it's very bright and colourful. And you can also see the second security camera in exactly the same position on the left as the one we did on the right. And you can also see those ladder pieces in the background, quite faintly. You see, even though they aren't in a perfect line when they're on the building desk or on the table here, I think they look really good from a distance, because I knew you weren't going to be able to see them very much. So it's almost just bridging the gap between the top of the wall and the ceiling. And when I'm in a standing position and the camera isn't so low, you can't see these pieces whatsoever. But I do think that it is a good, different sort of texture to look at. So that's really good. As for the station platform, I got quite a few suggested amendments when I did that video. One was to change the yellow and grey striping next to the white edge, so it aligned with the doors and where the doors would open on the train. Well, that won't quite work, because when I put the train in the station, it is actually slightly too long for the platform. So basically, the stripes would have to go into the wall, and I tried it. I did try it, but it didn't look very good. Another one that I've just remembered was to lower the stripes on the pillars down one, so they were on the same level as on the train. I haven't yet tried that, because I've only just remembered that saying these changes to you, so I might try that shortly. third one I had was to give the rat a piece of pizza, because there was a famous video apparently on YouTube, which I've since had a look at, and it's true, of a New York rat dragging a piece of pizza to its home in the underground. So that's a good thing to add, a bit of pop culture there. And as we'll see when we get to the stairs, I have reversed all the stairs on the escalator, so the grooves on the profile brick are going vertically rather than the horizontal side being showing as they were before. But I think it's looking pretty smart down here. So I thought I'd add a few more minifigures just to make it look populated. So I've got a businessman with his briefcase, and he's giving some money to the busker. Nice chap. Then I thought, because we've got a rat dragging pizza, we could have a very alarmed woman. She's looking very smart, but very scared. She's from one of the recent Hidden Side sets. She's the headmistress from the school. Another Hidden Side minifigure is this one, which is from the Haunted Train. Now I thought, just because I've got two of these people, I could have them as being underground staff, and they could have a slightly different uniform to my surface rail, which would be the dark blue uniform that's more usual. So he's running to her aid. And then I'm going to add some more near the stairs. So here we can see the secret revolving door. I've had lots of suggestions for this, and a lot of them are good suggestions, including some that I had my own. I was thinking of doing a sort of a Egyptian style pharaoh's tomb or an evil baddie's base or something like that. But the thing is, the base plate up here is going to be permanently in position, and it's going to be very hard to peer through this very small window and see anything that big. And one subscriber gave me a very good idea, which was just to attach a minifigure to the lip here, so when it turns, a minifigure sort of pops out as if to shock someone. He suggested a Harry Potter minifigure, which I don't have anyway, but I thought, well, it'd be much more scary if it was a monster. So I thought I'd have a monster on the back of here, sort of popping out when it's in that position. And the first one I thought about was the Series 8 Vampire Bat. I thought that would be fantastic. He could live in a subterranean sort of home. And, ooh, he didn't stay on there, did he? But, as you can probably see, his wing arms, which don't move at all, block him being able to spin. So although I think he was absolutely perfect, he isn't going to work. So back to the drawing board. Then I thought, well, I could use the Series 14 Fly Monster. I mean, a similar sort of idea, except for he's a sort of a human fly. And even if you take the wings off, which does make him easy to put on, the fact is his antennae are too tall. So he doesn't work either, because he hits the roof at the top. So I thought again, and thought what would be really good is a kind of Scooby-Doo type baddie. And one I've got is the Lighthouse Keeper, who's actually got a glow-in-the-dark head, amongst other things, which makes him even more fun. He's from set 75903. And for a start, he fits, which is rather good. It's a good start. And I thought it was quite funny, because it's almost like in the cartoon Scooby-Doo, which everyone knows. Scooby and Shaggy are always walking around somewhere normal. And then somebody just leaps out at them. So I thought that'd be really good fun. So I'm going to go with the Scary Lighthouse Keeper, who's just a scary looking old man. But if you don't know, he's actually not really a monster, because he's actually a civilian. But we won't be showing that because it's not yellow skin tone. So it's very tight. I can't even have his hands sticking out as if to grab somebody. But anyway, so that's there. And I thought, who could be looking for him? Well, I thought, who could be better than some monster hunters or monster fighters? So Monster Fighters was a range that Lego did, which is all sort of like spooky creatures being hunted down by sort of a Van Helsing type crew of, I don't know, heroes, I guess. So I've given this guy who's called Jack McHammer, rather funny, with his good lumberjack shirt, and I've given him a map of what looks like some subterranean passages, which might be where Gollum is as well, so maybe he's after him as well. And Jack McHammer has got a bionic arm, obviously from a nasty encounter in the past, and a huge hammer. So he uses his bionic arm to smash things by the looks of things. So I thought I could put him in the tube station, looking for the monster that's obviously been reported. And helping him is another monster fighter, Anne Lee, who's got a crossbow. You can see on her belt she's also got some garlic and other sort of tools, some stakes, and she's got an arrow in her hair. She looks very stern, so I thought she would also be hunting the monster of the tube. So I've put them down there. And then just to finish the scene, because I'll need somebody on the escalator and I can't have Robin there the whole time, I thought I would add this lady, who is another one from the new Hidden Side set. So she's the sort of student in a nice student jacket with the squids on the back, nice smile glasses, and I thought she was really colourful, and I thought that'd really pop on the escalator. So that's what I'm going to use to populate my now complete, thank goodness, subway station. Well, I think that's looking really good. It's taken a lot of planning, and even with all that planning, a lot of fettling to get right. But I think the outcome is an absolute triumph. I mean, I really like the red, white and blue of the sort of underground logo, but I also really like the blue, red and yellow of the bright tiles. It really makes the back wall pop, and I see it in all its glory. I thought the adverts might be too much, but they just blend right into the background, actually. Arguably my platform could take a few more people, and arguably I should at least give the moving of the stripe a go, but from this angle, to be honest, the red, white and blue stripe is actually very much aligned with the train when it goes past. Let's have a look. Yeah, almost perfect, isn't it? Anyway, I think this is looking rather smashing. Do let me know what you think. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome LEGO videos. And next time on Robin Hood Bricks, I just have to get my surface trains going, so I need to complete the track. So it might be a slightly boring update, and it's going to be a lot of railway track and not much else. But it's necessary, and maybe we'll introduce one of the trains if we get it all done in one go. So see you then!